What's up everyone, Man Bun Metalhead here. In this video, I'm going to do a deep dive into my rhythm distortion patch on my pedal board. Now you may have already seen my first video on my clean patches. If not, check it out. So this is the second video in my series of Pedalboard Sound Test videos. And I'm going to show you my rhythm distortion patch, and I'm really going to dive deep into all the settings of the pedals. So I'm using my Mesa JP2C with my 2x12, and I'm using my custom Warmoth guitar. It has a regal body with a mahogany back, quilted maple top, a Babinga neck, and a canary fretboard. It has a set of Rebel Yell pickups from Bare Knuckle Pickups in the UK. And I'm going to be using the bridge pickup in series for this test. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off all the effects so you can kind of get a baseline and hear what they sound like as I add them one by one. Now the first in line is my Tube Screamer Mini, and I set the tone to 12 o'clock, the level to 12 o'clock, and the gain very low, about 730. So there's a little bit of play on there. It's not totally off. But what I use this for, I use it before the input of the amp. And what it's going to do is push those tubes just a little bit more so you kind of get a tighter kind of feeling. So let's see how that sounds. So I'll start with it off. Let's turn it on. So you can really hear how it just tightens up that distortion just a little bit. Now, just as a reference, I'm gonna go ahead and turn on my clean channel and just play the distortion through the clean channel so you see how little distortion that I'm actually using from that Tube Screamer. So you can really see how there's very little distortion added in there, and it's just used to tighten up that distortion. So that signal is going to go to the input of my JP2C. The effects send is going to come back to my timeline. I just use the timeline as a slapback delay just to fill out that sound a little bit. So for the settings, I use the D bucket delay, which is the classic bucket brigade. For the time, I use 60 milliseconds. The repeats, I keep at 930. The mix, I keep at about 9 o'clock. The filter is at 11 o'clock. The grit is at 1 o'clock, and the speed and depth are turned all the way down. So let's get a feel of how this delay affects the sound. The last thing that I have in line is my Hall of Fame Mini Reverb. And I have that programmed to the Viagra Substitute by Satchel, and the reverb is at about 10 o'clock. So that is pretty much what I use. Now, sometimes I also use a chorus in my rhythm distortion. Now for the chorus, I'm using the Strymon Mobius. I have the speed set to 1.79 Hertz, the depth to 11 o'clock, the level to 1030. Parameter 1, which is the mix, is set to 6 out of 18. The parameter 2, which is the tone, is set to about +1, and the mode is D bucket. And then I have the chorus set right after my timeline, but before the Hall of Fame reverb. Yeah, so that is pretty much my rhythm distortion. So I don't use a whole lot of effects in there, but just enough to kind of fill out the sound, tighten up the distortion. Yeah, that's about it. So hopefully you found this helpful. If you did, give me a like down there below. It really helps me out a lot. And if you want to hear more of what I'm working on, like these pedalboard sound tests or gear reviews, tips and tricks, that kind of thing, feel free to subscribe down below and hit that little bell icon so you're notified whenever a new video comes out. But hey, till next time, rock on.